Ooh, yes.
All right, then we will move to approval of the minutes from the June 13 regular meeting because Margaret was not
She
here.
was not. Yeah.
I have some corrections and Rich had a couple, but I don't know what they are, so we can go through them really quickly. On the corrections, line 50,
Yes.
that should be bearing in or on the turntable instead of cable,
Bearing on. Yes.
and turntable instead of cable. Other,
Yep.
That's about that. Then line 73, we don't have a Tim Gross, we have a Tom Gross. 101 should just be established instead of established is. Or just add an A to it.
It was chilly.
It doesn't work real well. I think we could do better with that line. 116, I just read weird to me on the leak report. That could be right, but I just rolled off my tongue a little bit strangely. And that was it.
You shouldn't have approved those.
Now we'll have to table these till the next meeting because there's no one second to the approval of the minutes.
Okay.
All right. We will move ahead to the financial report.
Yeah, I highlighted a couple
I saw that.
of line items for you. Our payments in lieu of taxes for the Forest Service land that public safety is already at 90.5% collected for the year, and that's all ambulance fees. So we're doing well this year. The general overhead we've talked about on expenditures. Increase that number. The water department is slightly ahead, but they have a $23,000 contract that is included in the total expended, which was a one-time payment for the year. So if you take that out, you're back, down into the 40% range. And then for general assistance, we've just had a couple of requests, so we're slightly ahead of the 50% through the year.
Okay, question for you.
Yes.
With the abatements we approved last meeting, how much is that affecting our top line?
It doesn't, because we have an overlay, that amount that we set aside each year.
Okay, so
And those payments come out of that overlay, they do not come out of the budget.
okay. Do you know that one? No.
That's what you'll see when we do the tax rate setting, there's a line item that says,
Okay,
and that's what it's for.
all right. Any questions?
The rec budget numbers are looking good at 46% through the year, or 46% collected on our revenue side. So we're doing well for just the first week of camp. Anything that you want to talk
All
about?
right, we'll get to that when we get to camp.
Okay.
All right, good. Anything on Margaret?
No.
All right, calendar review, 18th of the year?
Yep.
What about Rich?
He's here as far as I know.
Okay. And the planning board is the planning. Okay, department heads. Why don't we go, let's get Chris while we have him here and relaxed. Engage in
Yeah,
our
I'm
other
solo today, me and Kevin. So the ladder truck, I don't know if you saw the report in there now that's a report from a guy who makes a living fixing ladder trucks.
Not a salesman.
Right, not a salesman. He's the guy that used to work on our truck retired, and he referred us to this guy, and he's supposed to be, the #1 guy in the Northeast, expert on
Where's
that.
he out of?
He's from Connecticut.
Okay.
So you read the report, basically said stop fixing it. Mechanic and not a salesman.
Right.
But, you know, it is what it is.
And how many cylinders does this thing have, talking about repairing?
Oh, there's a lift cylinder, let's see.
Yeah, it's like a dozen.
Four, at least, yeah.
Okay.
And the turntable is the big,
Right.
the big deal. So I guess that's where we're at right now with that. We did have somebody come in yesterday to look at it.
Yeah.
And it's just
Well,
waiting to, go ahead.
For the balance of this year, Chris, does this mean that it'll be out of service?
Yeah, it's not in service as far as using it as an aerial, until it's fixed or replaced.
And what is that? That's about 100 grand to do that, you think?
That's just.
Just to do the aerial part.
Yeah, that's just, you know, and then.
I just want to get this stuff into
Yes,
the record.
Yep, it's about, you know, could be more.
Yeah.
But 100,000 is a, you know.
Is
kind of-
what's visible.
Right.
Yeah, and that's just to get the ladder up and down and around.
That's right.
That's
That
not,
doesn't
nothing to do with the
pay attention
chassis or
the-
the motor.
These other things and the torque box.
Yeah, the torque boxes.
The torque box is a big tick, another big tick. So,
And it'll be tied up for months on end.
Yeah.
We have this in the capital improvement plan for next year.
Does it have any value? You know, we talked about trading it in, but the more we see these things.
Right, and that's the thing that, I mean, that's what we kind of anticipated, that if we kept putting it off, the value would go down.
But I mean, paying it off and looking at what we've got.
20,000, 30,000
Is,
maybe.
or a comparison, could you guys work on looking at? Would it be worth parting it out? Or is it?
I think that's what would happen to it.
That's what would
if-
happen
If
to
we,
But we
Oh, no,
don't have
yeah.
the capability
Okay, no,
to,
it's just a thought that
Yeah.
there might be,
Yeah.
I tend to doubt it, but just, I have to ask these questions.
yeah,
Mhm.
Is there's a possibility that any of the parts, so can we move over? And you could say the electronics in the cabin. things
yeah,
like that.
nothing that we could do.
You know, nothing is, you know, even close to current.
but I think somebody will scrap it
Yeah,
probably when,
Or it'll go to Honduras.
or it'll go to Honduras,
No,
someplace where
seriously.
they don't have
Go on.
safety regulations. No, that's what they do.
Where ocean
I know.
trucks.
No, I got you, bud. All right, well, let's keep on working. So we're out, it's not working as of now.
No, it's not.
And how long has it been out of commission?
Since the UL test in March,
Okay.
April.
So let's make a note of letting people in town know that this has been out of, because when we go to get this money for a new one, we have to make the case for it. And understand that it's been out since March, that, now here's a question, if we need a ladder truck situation, Plymouth would come in?
Well, if they're available, they would, yes.
Yeah.
And they're a half an hour, at least.
I've got you, but here's the other side of the equation, the question. How many ladder truck calls have we missed by not having it?
Oh, we missed a few. I mean, chimney fires, there's a chimney fire at Windsor Hill.
All right, so how do we deal with it?
We called Plymouth and they came up, but it was a half hour later and we ended up determining that luckily there was no fire, so we canceled.
And do we have to pay for them, or is that just our mutual aid?
We don't have to pay for them now, but we have a responsibility as a town when we build these big hotels that we're gonna protect them.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when the first ladder truck was. If you build a 5, 6-story, 8-story building like Golden Eagle and Blackberry.
Right. But we've found, Jeff, the presentation Jeff put together, that's the least of our problems right now. It's the way we've allowed houses to be built in, up in these lots to get to
Driveways.
Yeah, and the safety of our firefighters is more important than the house, you know, it goes to replace the house. But to try to put a guy on a roof or near a roof without a ladder is gonna be
Right,
quite dangerous.
just like you said though, if you have a fire in one of those major buildings, half an hour, that may be 29 minutes too late.
I guess, but don't the sprinklers do something?
Yeah, but nothing's foolproof, you know,
Yeah.
it's is what it is, and a lot, sometimes they don't work, unfortunately,
Yeah.
too, so. But yes, if we didn't have, these multi
Um,
occupancy
Yeah, it's
buildings
all good.
sprinkled, I think we'd be, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, and I know what you're saying, I know what you're getting at.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Great, right, so we touched on that. 4th of July, it kind of a staff, got enough.
Yeah, we're good to go on that. The road will be closed at noon time, so they can set up, same as every year. The display should be about the same as last year. They didn't cut anything out of that. So they've done a good job with that. Parade, 11 o'clock, right?
Right.
So yeah, we're good to go with
All
that.
right, and are you bringing in extra officers from other towns for this?
No.
Okay,
No, we have enough. We can handle it. People are getting really good with the road closure.
Yeah.
The first year we did it, we had to, tell people it was a circle. Yeah. But now, it's a known thing. People are getting used to it. So
all right.
it makes our job a lot easier.
How about the ice arena sprinklers, is that,
That's all done, all set.
and when are they putting, is the ice in already?
Yeah.
When are they coming in?
End of July,
End of July, now, I thought it was end of June.
no, end of July.
Wow, have we had any discussions with them to see what's going on?
They have they had tournaments before in July that they are not.
You mean in June?
In
Right,
June.
yeah.
Well, no.
No, July, around
After
July
July
4th and through the month of July, and they're not having them this year. So, not get them organized, so they're not putting the ice in until the end.
I would give them a wellness check. Just to have a conversation what's going on, and I think it can't be good for anybody if they keep on cutting back on when the ice goes in.
Yeah, I think we even looked at the lease and it said, as long as, when they're open, they have to
When they're
have
open,
public.
they have
Yeah,
to
it
provide.
doesn't say when they have to be open.
That's right.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking out loud here.
But
All right,
yeah,
Margaret, any other questions for
No,
Margaret?
no.
All right, great. Then, how about you, Brooke?
Well, we started camp this week on Monday, and we have good, strong numbers for the first week, which is great. We had kind of a whirlwind of camp staff training and regular staff training last weekend and the weekend before, which went have been very popular, so that seems to have helped. Our rentals are up overall. I think we have about double what we had this year, same time. The grilling and chilling invite for the neighborhood cookout will be going out in the water sewer bills.
Responses, or plan B?
No, not
Okay,
really. I
okay.
mean, it's just, the space is limited.
Alright.
And that's all I have unless you have questions.
Does the invitation talk about space limited to the first 200? or
We
something?
definitely will, yes, it will. It will.
I just don't want someone to go, oh, we didn't know we had to apply.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep, and it will be a first come,
Yeah.
sort of first paid system. It will be through the rec department. We'll take online
Yeah.
not online registration, we'll take registrations and collect for that, and we will make sure everyone knows that it is limited.
And we did actually have that last
We
year at the 50th, we turned people.
Oh, no, I know,
It
but
was
I
also
just
limited.
don't want someone where the husband pays the water bill
Oh, right.
and the
right.
wife hasn't heard about it. And goes, we didn't know, how come we can't come?
Yeah.
Or more than we're gonna get anyways, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
And not to be sexist, it could be the wife
Yeah.
paying the bill and the husband.
Wants to go to
For anyone
the.
out there, I don't want.
We're trying to be politically correct.
Brooke, is the climbing wall and trampoline system that's in Town Square taking away from your business?
well, I don't know the answer to that.
I
The
see
climbing
them
wall
there every
has,
day.
the climbing wall has, been slow, but but that's been happening even before it opened in Town Square. So what I'm noticing is that it's the hours that the climbing wall is open in Town Square are not the same as the one when we're open.
Oh,
And we
okay.
did have a family go to the climbing wall in Town Square and then later that night come to our climbing wall. So at this point, it's too early to say because they really weren't open very much last summer. They were like really on the ball this summer with it. So I really can't report.
What do they
What-
charge, do you know?
don't know charge. I know they're selling an adventure pass for I think $80 or $90, which includes like bike rental, climbing wall, all these things, and we're being included in that as the boats, and then we're getting a piece of that reimbursed to us. But I can't really tell. The one thing is that we don't take Freedom Pass reimbursements during the summer for our climbing wall. That ceases from May to October, where we do the boats. So in that respect, it's not hurting us in that way. So I don't have a hard, fast answer for you.
Okay.
Anything else? Got some camp numbers for you, I guess, at the next meeting, or maybe Mark will update you via email.
I'll send out an email in the intervening weeks just to give you an update.
We just want to
After
hear
we
you
have a
sold
couple
out,
of
that you were very nice to the people who couldn't get their kids. in.
Right.
All right, good, all right, thanks. Should we deal with Greg's stuff, or? do you want-
Great.
Please. I have some.
Yeah,
I have something.
He's got some. So, I did the sheet for you. There's one for each of you there. We just went through the 130,000 that we appropriated at town meeting and looked at what we had budgeted and planned to
Right.
do and what we need to do. We would like to move ahead with the HVAC system. Greg has talked to Lavelle Joyce, who gave us the building improvement.
What is that? He's gonna open a wall up to get that stuff in there?
He's gonna replace, that whole building is still original wood and
Plywood and
Yeah.
and the last two times we painted it, it's being held
together with the.
held together with the paint. So while we're doing this, instead of just cutting a hole big enough for them to
Yeah.
slide the old out and the new in, he's gonna replace the whole gable end over the garage,
Yeah.
the toughest gable end we have. And use vinyl white trim, the vinyl trim that will never need painting. And replace that.
How much of the building will remain original?
How much?
Like, you made a statement saying the building is being held together by paint. How
Well,
much more is paint held
Mark and I
together?
walked around the building the other day, and that's gonna have to be addressed.
We don't
Each
have
time.
money to do that.
Yeah, but
right now.
about what percentage is he taking care of the building now?
Oh, 10%.
Yeah.
10%, so you're gonna need
I mean,
$100,000.
before we
Yes.
go and hire it out and paint it again.
We can't.
The plywood might be good, but all the trim in that building
Yeah.
is probably gonna need these.
Okay.
It looks good from a
Now,
distance,
do we have that?
but you don't wanna start tearing into stuff.
Is that in the CIP?
There are building improvements in the CIP.
Okay.
So this is a good opportunity
Yeah.
to have, that's
Exactly, instead
the
of putting
worst
back the
one.
crappy stuff out.
Yeah. And that one's gonna require a lift.
All right, so you're over 5,000 here for the HVAC system, because we budgeted 60, so 65 for that. And plus the other 13,000,
Yes,
13,400.
and that's why the
That's-
1804.
Electrician getting
Right.
new power, because it's a different,
So, and then we saved 10 grand on the sludge pump.
That's,
Well, we
that
didn't
was
do-
the aeration system improvements, which we said we're not
that
gonna do.
was that amendment to that, to get that emergency pump.
Oh, okay.
That was
Yeah.
that backup to the backup generator,
Okay.
so to speak. So that's where we used the 25, we bought all the necessary hoses and equipment to have an emergency backup plan. So that's what we used there. I just talked with Mark earlier. The aeration system is 20 years old this year. The guy was here 2 summers ago, and he says, you got some boils, but it's not, and our operations isn't being affected by what's going on.
Yeah.
But it does need maintenance, but it's something we cannot do. So you're gonna have to hire a company with a, what kind of boat is that? Like a I get the name. Pontoon, no, pontoon boat where they can use a rig that they can pull stuff up.
Yeah.
A barge type thing. And there's companies out there to do that. So Mark and I were discussing.
In the CIP, there is money each year.
Each year.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna
Put it
put it
out.
away
Yeah.
and then do it all at once,
Yeah.
not try to parcel it out year to year. So,
So that's where that, money's worth.
and then the carbon replacement note is there. We're having trouble finding a company.
When we did it before, when Tim was here, guys would get down into the vessel. And the last guy that looked at it said, there's no way we're doing that. And so we just discussed that, maybe that's a project that we do all three.
Yeah.
Carbon at the same time, bid it out and have the company. The problem is getting someone here to do one.
Yeah.
You know, we're so small that it costs them transportation. So, so that's another option we can look into, is maybe having all three done and combining it all together in the future.
So what are we asking here, Mark?
So I'm asking for the HVAC overage to be approved with those three contractors to do the work. That'll leave us $19,600 for any emergency issues that come up. And
As opposed to $38,000 worth of budget stuff we're not doing.
that's correct.
The HVAC is needed over there too.
Gotcha. Question. Did we get multiple bids? These all go out for public bids?
I called three companies, only one called back, that was TML. They do all the school, SAU 48,
Okay.
John Francis recommended them. So, and the other places, we're too far out off the main road to guess, I
Is
don't
that
know.
the first person?
Nope, I know, it's tough when you call them. Thank goodness for the
Ryan,
local.
would you like to make that motion?
I move that we spend, what is it now?
110.
$78,400 for the repair of the HVAC system.
All right,
Repair and installation of the HVAC system.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, Greg, what about your new person hired, started?
Yes.
Anything else?
He started.
Seems to be going,
Doing
picked up pretty good. We left him alone, not to run the plant, but we left him alone but he's already doing the lab, some of the basic stuff, and walks around and, seems like a good kid.
Great. All right, excellent.
What's his name again, Greg?
Dylan.
Delisle.
Dylan.
All right.
Yeah,
what's
so
going
far, so
on?
good.
We cleaned out a few culverts today.
Yeah.
It's been a good day. Get ready for the big event tomorrow. The weather that's supposedly coming in. We've also been doing some shoulder work. May have noticed that we've done a little bit of work over next to the Silver Fox. We're planning on doing a long stretch along the tennis courts coming up. Try and pretty that up and stabilize it a little bit. Other than that, roadside mowing and all that kind of stuff, it's ongoing.
The patch on Snows Mountain Road doesn't look like that's gonna hold up for a while.
Probably not.
Okay.
There's a method to the madness. There's not a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
But the problem is that in order to get somebody in here to pave it, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because it's such a small little patch. So what we have chosen to do, because it was in the winter time and because the material that was excavated was so saturated, it could not go back into the hole after the repair on the pipe. So it's filled with sand. So we got different materials in there that aren't with what the rest of the road is. So if we let traffic over it, we keep it like it is until we have a paving project, which we have several coming up, and we can look at adding it at that time.
Okay, good. All right, well, 3. Jim's here.
Well, 3, we had the meeting out at the site. Jamie Emery came and has looked at it. They've confirmed what they suspected, what they are recommending, as far as the membrane. They will dig it down, put on the membrane, cover it up, install the fence around the area. He is looking at extending the radius of the fence. He feels we need to get some additional distance. but it won't interfere with the hiking path or anything like that. We also looked at, he's concerned with the erosion that is going on the trail into the site. We definitely need to address that because it just opens up additional ways for water to get towards the well. But he felt, after he looked at the well in detail, he feels that we can secure it with what they are.
Alright, and there's a new development for the well?
Well, yes, we're working with Smith Pump right now to find out if the pump itself, the well pump itself, is still serviceable after the lightning strike. And we've gotten the estimate from the electrician for the repairs at the well house. Very preliminarily, it looks like it's gonna be about $40,000 to repair the wiring in the pump house. We have started conversations with the insurance company. We have an open claim on it, so we will not incur all of those costs ourselves.
Right.
But the insurance adjuster, when he came out and looked at it, we also showed him the new well building. And he even said, before we said it to him, said, have you thought about, is there a way to connect this well to the new building rather than connect it through the old way?
It's like God is trying to tell us something.
Yeah, I think, yes, he reached out and said, no, do not use this anymore. So he said that he will recommend to Primex that whatever money we finally settle on for the well building can be applied to the connection project. So that would give us, the start of that. Because even in addition, we could have the insurance company put this building all back together. But remember, we still have issues with the building itself that we had to address. So there's another $30,000 or $40,000 worth of improvements that we'd have to make. So I would recommend that we not.
Let's wait till we see what Primex says, but.
But are you okay with us pursuing that
Yes.
with
Yeah.
them? And-
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, town entrance project. It's going out,
We have bid packets out.
Out, one is out.
one is out.
Well, one has gone out.
Anybody else request bid?
Yes, he just hasn't picked it up yet.
Okay, so how many do we get, two?
We're putting it out to 4 contracts.
4 contracts.
Okay, and
Yeah.
are they the usuals?
Yeah, they are the usuals, local people.
Yeah.
And we are having a non-mandatory bidders meeting
A week from Monday.
a week from Monday.
Okay,
So if you're around, you're welcome to come and listen to that. We do have an addendum that will have to go out. An acre of ground. So we have to, there's a
well, we
20,
need a historical review.
no, you will not need a historical review.
Not yet, we haven't started
No,
digging.
no Forest
All right,
Service,
well,
no, there's no Forest Service.
If you make
land
sure there's
involved.
any glass on it, make sure it's got a deposit stamp on it.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
right,
So, but it is required, DES does require that we do a stormwater plan and,
all right, just,
as a conservation commission will sign off on it, which I'm sure they will, because there's no wetlands involved. It's
Right.
just
Yeah.
required because of the disturbance.
Okay.
So,
all right, great. Let's move to our favorite dam project.
the dam project, the gosh darn project. We're,
I would have gotten.
we're
right
just
away with
waiting,
words.
yeah, I know, I try not to. we are still awaiting final approval of the 75% plan. It is submitted, we're just waiting for, and DES has sent us a bunch of questions and we have answered all of those. So we are just waiting for their final approval of, and once we get that, then they'll go into final design. It is going to be very close, timing wise,
To get it done this spring?
to
To
get
start
it, to
this fall.
start this fall.
Oh, I'm not,
That's-
yeah, I'm not looking at
He's
that.
not, he's not. So we're getting to the point where if DES sits on this much longer. And our engineer is bugging them daily. So we are trying to move them along, but it's I don't know what the reason is that they're being picky about it, but I'll send you an email as soon as the 75% is
Okay.
approved.
All right, while we've got everybody here, why don't we go to bus stops?
Yes,
Hi,
bus stops.
that's
Hi,
me.
John, that's
Hi.
you.
I'm done.
So, I'm trying to spearhead a
Are you doing
bus
this as a citizen or a member of the planning board or?
citizen.
Okay,
So, for the record, John Rossini. So, I'm trying to spearhead a, bus stop shelter throughout the valley, but I would like to start with one right downtown where the bus stop sign is now.
have you spoken to the mountain about this?
I have. I have a couple little things in here. A picture of what I selected. And an estimate from a local Ted Hammond, which I will work with. I also have a letter from Tim. Smith.
All right, can I give you right off my hip first thought, first impression? This is the busiest bus stop we have, and this looks like this is way too small to satisfy the needs of that place. I could see something of this side being an outpost somewhere.
Well, it's 4 feet by 8 feet.
Yeah, but I'm seeing people coming out of town square in the
It has a bench in it. It will have a bench in it.
yeah, no, I see I understand what you're saying. I don't know from patterns and stuff, even if a slightly bigger, that's the biggest place I see people.
Yeah.
Coming out and waiting for the longest time.
Sure.
Well, do you think it's better, Mike, to put it at like the spot by Windsor Hill or by
I would
across from
think, I would
Village?
think Windsor Hill or across from Village, a 4x8 would keep people out of the wind and keep people out of the streets. But I think,
I was hoping to put something right downtown.
yeah, I just don't think it's gonna be big enough.
What size do you think would be big enough?
I don't know, I just know that when I drive by there, I see groups of 20 on a bus at a time. Because of the size of the lodging units, those are the big lodging units, plus the parking lot.
4x12.
This might be an off-the-wall idea, but there is a covered porch coming out of town square. Why couldn't there just be something that you press the button and out there where the bus stop is, it lights up if
You
you're
mean
waiting
where the
for a
mailbox
bus?
is?
Huh?
Yeah, where the mailbox is.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
somewhere there.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of room for people to wait underneath, and the bus would know people were waiting.
Well, the bus should know, because he's
No, the bus
driving by.
goes there anyway.
Yeah.
The bus has a scheduled stop.
I'd like to see these as a series of outposts, these small size in places, maybe like at the corner of Osceola Road, where you guys are by where you are, where people are coming out.
Yeah.
Or over, we can get to the academy later, but that would be with kids from the academy coming out in groups.
Yeah.
But I think Windsor Hill, that first spot in Windsor is another big one. The other one is the Forest Knoll stop.
Yeah.
There's always a lot of.
Well, no, they already, I mean, our plan,
Yeah.
we already have the recommended places for
Right.
these stops. The main one is where you're talking about putting it, right by town square.
Yes.
You know, if we thought that 4x12 would handle it, I mean, I'd defer to.
We have nothing there right now.
But you do,
Yeah.
you have the overhang where people can stay out of the weather, where Martin was
But
talking
if I
about.
may, there's a lot of people who go out there and have no idea where the bus stop is.
Yeah,
They don't have any idea. If they see a bus stop,
We need
they'll know
another
where
sign,
it is.
yeah,
and we need a button on the sign that says if you wanna stop the bus, press this button.
yeah, no, no, I see what
Yeah.
you're saying, but
Yeah.
people tend not to read signs anyways.
Is
But they will come as attractions, think about the people standing in a shelter with skis, thinking that would be the bus stop.
But if we could put something there at the town square, it would be a good start, I think, for people to be aware of this, to be driving by it all the time, and then start from there to add.
Jim, how does that affect you with plowing to put a building over there?
Well, it's just something that we'd have to deal with, because of course everything's on the right-hand side, so. But, we can get around it. We can deal with people.
Well,
at bus stops.
one of the things that I do notice is when they finally flatten that out, you're able to put a lot of snow through there to get it out of that. Where, when the mountain moves it on a circle, you guys are able to push it to the side there and come in there. If you have a bus stop there, is that gonna stop you from coming in there and we wind up creating a berm?
So are you all signed off?
We went through this, we're talking about making things one way, so that's why I'm sensitive to it.
Sure.
Right. I mean, it's always gonna be, just because plows and wings go to that side of the road, you're
Yeah.
always gonna have an issue. And the cleanup won't always happen during hours of bus operation, obviously. So there's always gonna be a
What
little
if we
bit of
move
an
to the other
issue.
side of the street, next to the parking lot entrance, where people from the parking lot can come?
Well,
then,
you get into a safety issue.
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
because
that's
then
why-
the bus can't get
Yeah.
off the
Yeah.
road
Gotcha, can't.
to load
Gotcha.
the people. So I think we should leave it where the signpost currently is.
And is there another thing I'm thinking, these are all just coming from the top of my head.
Sure, that's
Where
fine.
there's a lot of room, there's no hair. Are there any of these made of some kind of high-intensity plastic that are prefabbed already? That would be no maintenance? That's the other thing that I can see about this is eventually, who's gonna maintain it, who's gonna take care of graffiti, who's gonna take care of all that stuff? Especially when it's gonna be out in the elements and it's gonna get a lot of salt on it.
Well, I think, yeah, well, Tim and I would have to work that out. I mean, I think we could, I did not, something I did not consider was graffiti. Yes, could get it, but hopefully people will be.
No, you're gonna have people carving with wood.
The plastic materials, I don't think would really work too well in this area, because when it gets really cold, it gets pretty brittle.
Yes, I don't know
So
about
if it
it.
breaks, it's like a maintenance issue anyways.
What do you think, Robert?
I don't have a big objection to it, but I think your point about having a thing that is big enough for all the people who
Yeah.
wanna use it is, a bit of an issue.
And moving it to 4x12, how much does it affect the price?
And ski racks, gotta have some ski
Another
racks.
$1,000?
Yeah, way under, yeah.
Under 1,000?
Yeah, I would think,
So if we went to 4,000, would that be enough?
yeah, I was thinking another 500 probably.
And ski racks is another thing people need, is you're not gonna get people into the shelter if they're all bringing their skis with them.
The ski racks on the outside, you mean?
And next to them, and just so
Yeah.
people,
What if we did 5 and then you'd have enough?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll give you some back. Now, this thing's gonna be on footings, so it's gonna be above the ground, not gonna be on the ground.
I get that.
So it'll be well built, and it'll have a lot of airflow, so the issues of rot are gonna be very minimal.
Well, depends on what gets plowed into it.
Yeah, well, if Jim's doing the plowing, we're safe.
All right, we'll go back to.
As long as it's-
Jim doesn't do it all the time.
Jim has one that's plowing.
Do we have money
Jim
lying
has
around
staff
for this?
now.
Well, we,
Put
I
some
think
granite
I
curb.
put in a contingency.
Is it gonna be labeled? Is there gonna be advertising on it? Are there gonna be signs on it? Signs.
I think it's
Sign. Yes.
No. Do you want signs on it?
Well, I think a nice Waterville logo would be nice on it, or something.
If we do that, I'll leave it up to a sign company.
I'll have it all ready. Or maybe we could, maybe get a sponsor.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well, and
Tylenol.
Yeah.
Oh,
Chris, do you have any public safety issues with this?
You need to put maps on it,
I do not.
The trail maps.
Yeah,
the cross-country
better.
maps.
Yeah.
Information.
I think informational maps would be great.
We got some hiking maps, we could put up one of those.
I would say more
Mhm.
trails and streets so people know, and people know the bus route.
they have a bus map.
They do.
They could
Yeah.
do 11 by 17 or slightly.
And it would also be
larger.
a good reference in summer for the bicycle people.
Yes.
right.
You have a huge map out there, because we don't have a map at that side of,
You can interchange them, do summer bike maps, do winter
Yeah.
cross-country maps. I mean, similar trails, but different mechanisms you're using.
John, I have a question. About how high up off the
Okay, I
ground are you envisioning
propose
it?
that we allocate $5,000 from the contingency fund for the construction of a bus stop shelter at
Excuse me, I
Town
have
Square.
one last question. Whose land is this going on?
It's owned by the
Town
resort.
Town Square.
Oh, no, I got that. Okay,
That's why I got.
It's on the
Jim's
Town
approval.
Square lot.
oh, no, I got that, but is this telling?
That's their land, that's why I got his approval.
To- All right, do we need anything more than this letter to do it? All right, I'll second the motion. Is there a vote?
Oh, wait a minute.
I asked that. But
This may not be my piece of the pie, but I see this happen, this has been happening for years, and maybe you discussed it when I was out there, but who's gonna maintain it?
That's, yeah.
You already talked about that? Okay. Because
It's gonna be an
when it
issue.
comes time for a paint job, everyone goes.
Yeah.
It's gonna.
Or the first kid that takes a spray can and draws a
Right,
giant
That's
something
not
on the
ours,
back.
not ours. Yeah. All right.
Even perhaps
You'll do that,
AIA,
John, you'll be in charge of.
Yes. AIA is a non, it's a group that,
Yeah, but this is what, I see this happening in the winter with a bunch of hockey kids being
Yeah.
bored and something else. I don't see it at other times.
yeah.
Not to knock the hockey kids.
Yeah.
But, I see it unsupervised teams. How's that?
There you go. That's,
That's a good.
All right, so I will we'll vote on that. All in favor?
I,
Aye, you got a bus stop.
and this is 8 by 12.
8 by 12.
Oh, Jim Mayhew had a
Jim had
question.
a question?
Yeah, it just was, how high off the, travel will you feel it's gonna be?
Enough so we can get some airflow, so it doesn't,
Okay,
so it
2
doesn't
feet
cause
enough.
a huge chill problem in the winter and enough where the air doesn't rot at the
right.
bottom.
So is there a step into it?
No,
Okay.
Who's
And-
gonna maintain keeping the ice off the floor in there? You know, if,
It's on Town Square property.
yeah,
so we'll
let's
have
just
to
make
talk.
sure that they're gonna make sure they got someone shoveling out if
Yeah.
need be, if snow
They-
days come in.
they do it now anyways, don't they? Or
I don't think so.
Mm.
I think Jim comes by and plows it
Just with
flat.
the plow?
That's
Okay.
great.
Usually.
I'll
We,
work-
we just don't
yeah.
wanna create something where we have a real dangerous,
Understood, yeah.
Shoveling in winter.
Yeah. Understood.
all right, well, thank you, John.
All right, thank you.
All right, let's move on. You wanna talk about AIA request for additional funding?
Town center.
Yeah, I thought someone else would be here, but Cheryl
And we can table it if no one's here to talk about it.
was.
About which? Janice? Do you have
I-
the,
I,
you have the paper?
I have a.
yes, it's in the packet.
Okay.
The paper is in the packet, but
Um,
what Mike was asking was anyone gonna make a formal presentation on it?
I'm not
Or
prepared for that, at this point. I thought Dan would be coming, but,
We can table it till the July meeting.
And I have a question that I would bring to you guys. Have you gone to the foundation and other places this month?
again, I would have to get back to you on
A
that.
suggestion that I would make that would make this more appealing to me personally is if you came in and say you have a donation from the foundation to help achieve this, with the town match that additional
Okay.
foundation donation for this year.
Which
I don't-
foundation?
The Waterville Valley Foundation.
Foundation.
Got it.
The other suggestion that I had is that instead of coming in with a one-time, request, that there be some kind of evaluation of the trails, like we do with the roads in town, that says, you know, here's the ones that are in the worst shape, that are the most used, and we wanna go after doing this, so that each year, you know, maybe there's a capital fund for it that we start to set up, so that each year there is some money there and you don't have to come back and be asking, you know, out of budget cycle and that kind of thing.
Well,
So it'd be
there
good
were-
to have a good long-range plan.
No, there is, but we
Well,
don't.
there's two parts to this request. There's the additional money for this year to bring him up to 5,000, because he has specific work that he
Right.
wanted to do this summer.
Mhm.
And then there's whether or not we will move from the 3 to 7,000.
That's actually
for
not
the
attached, that
annual.
spreadsheet's not in the package.
No, I know it's not, and I was hoping that Dan would be here with the spreadsheet. So, because it wasn't attached
No.
to this. So there is some work that he's looking to do this year. And so would we consider doing the additional $2,000 worth of work this summer? Setting aside, because I agree with you, we should have a plan
Yeah.
for which trails before we increase to the $10,000. But I think he laid out in this sheet
Well, he's asking here, he's
additional
asking for the town,
2,000 right
no, he's
now.
asking
2,000.
he's asking from 3 to 10,000 for the town.
but as I wrote you in the packet though, that's not for
This year.
this year. I don't think that that's.
No, it says a
appropriate.
request of the annual support from the town from 3,000 to 10,000, is what it's saying. So we
Right.
want 10,000 a year going forward.
That's right, from 19 on.
2019.
Right,
2019.
Right, I don't think he understands he can't get it this year.
No, he
Yeah.
wasn't asking for the increase to 10,000 this year.
Yeah.
He's asking for an additional 2,000 in 2018. And that's what I'm asking you is, are you willing to do the additional 2,000 for this summer?
We have somebody on our list of charitable donations who has not asked for any money this year.
Yes,
I thought
they
so.
have not.
Okay. We may be able to make this happen.
We may be able to make this
Okay.
happen. And then we can, that other group, if they do come to us,
Mhm.
we could talk about contingency because they may not need the entire
Right.
2,000.
Okay.
So what would you like to do with this, Margaret? Table until they come in again?
Yeah, I'd like to hear Dan talk
Okay.
about it, but
Okay.
I'm feeling favorable.
Right, yeah,
towards
but
it.
I just don't know what,
Yeah.
Sure.
when it says spreadsheet attached, and there isn't one, it makes.
I'll get a hold of Dan and we'll.
So the meeting is July 18th at 3:00.
Okay.
And that's going to be the only meeting in
It's
July.
To us
Get
before the
this-
meeting, so we can
yes.
review it.
All right,
Right?
all right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Let's
All right,
move on to
thanks.
planning board alternative nominations.
Yep.
All right,
So you have two that are being recommended.
okay, Bill Spencer, Bill is
Well, I just
Rich's
wanna
tenant,
know, because I'm gonna end up with the winter.
and Rob Wilson. Robert Wilson to alternative, as alternative member to the planning board. Is there a second?
I will second that.
All in favor? Aye. Tax abatement for David Britton. What did David miss it?
Well, yes, and this was from last, second half bill last winter, December, and he has a good record of payment, so we're fine with, doing it, and we would do it as a, credit this year because last year's been closed.
Okay, great, then I will make a motion to grant the abatement to the Brittons.
217.
Up to 1708. What is your maximum amount you can do yourself?
200.
Okay,
I think, is it 200?
200.
okay.
Yeah.
So we have to do this.
Just.
I will make that motion. Is there a second?
I will second
All
that.
in favor? Aye.
Aye.
The MS 535.
So it's basically a restatement of our audit paperwork. Any questions about it? Or no? Okay. Didn't think there would be. Let me just.
It's almost like reading the new Verizon wireless bills. When they make you buy your phones instead of getting the
Yes.
free ones, and you
Yes.
don't realize how many, what you pay for them until they
Oh
tell
my
you have
God.
670 payments left at $9 a month.
Only $9 a month.
I just
600
I
times.
just recently did the upgrade and
Yeah.
it took them 4 weeks to get the bill right.
Yeah.
No, because I knew what the bill was supposed to be once this happened, and no.
If you will make a motion to approve that.
I will make the motion to approve the MS 535. Is there a second?
Second,
All in favor? Aye. All right, now we'll move on to the PA 28. The
Yeah.
PA 28 is
Do you
how
have
we
PA?
report personal property.
It's upstairs. Did they need to sign that
No,
too?
they need to sign it.
It's right here, I got one.
The original's upstairs.
Yeah, that's
I've
fine.
got a blue-
Just sign it. That's right there. It colored,
Okay.
color copied.
That
All
works.
right,
Just sign
Margaret,
that.
why don't you make a motion on the PA?
I move that we, decide once again not to use PA 28 form.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Board concerns and directives.
Well, we got one other thing that got added because you got the quotes in. Did I think I included both of these in the packet, so it's not,
Drainage
the
system.
quotes for the drainage system around town
Just
hall.
2 bids,
Yep, we got 2 bids,
one from Doug and one from Dana.
yeah. And Jim, you wanna talk them through?
Right. Before we make a decision on accepting either or, I did have some additional questions for Doug Johnston, so
I
that,
have Lee Johnson. Is that?
Yeah.
is-
Yeah,
Doug
Lee
is
Johnston,
vice
Okay.
president.
so that it was,
Not
it was an apples for apples quote. There was some things contained in Dana's. He is the higher bidder. There was some things contained in his bid that are not included in the Johnston bid. And I have sent them an email to give me additional cost estimate if we added those 4 items onto his bid. So I have not heard back from him at this point in time, but I think my recommendation would be well, you can accept whomever you want, but my recommendation would be to, if you wanted to accept the low bidder, that would obviously be the Johnston bid, as long as the additional costs that he is to get to me does not put him over
And
Dana's
what are
bid.
the additional costs?
The total I don't have, but
Oh, what are the
but the
additional
items
items?
are, Dana priced out pea stone instead of 3/4 inch rock for where the picnic table's gonna be. Lee was just going to scrape off some loam in the new parking area. We're gonna take out some loam, some grass area. Dana boxed it out down to the proper depth, brought in gravels. They were just going to shim it with crushed bank.
Yeah.
Dana was gonna make it like a regular parking lot. Then Dana was gonna pave with 3 inches of 1/2 inch pavement, and Lee was 2, or Doug was 2, and Dana added 2 area drains out back to connect to the perforated pipe. And Doug's quote just called for perforated pipe under stone, so. That's where the two are, that's probably why Dana is higher.
So,
So,
Why don't we get the quote in and you send us an email?
Yeah.
Can we do it that way? Send us an email when you get the numbers back?
yeah,
if you-
fine. I mean, basically, we're fine with either one
Either
of them
one,
doing the work. If Ellie Johnston adds these items
And
and
it's
it's
under the
still
19.
under the 19.
Yeah.
He'll be the low bidder,
But
so.
but are we getting the same design, the same
yes,
project from each?
Well, if we
Yes.
add these four
Okay.
things, we're getting the same.
that's why I
the point
asked the
of
question,
doing-
so we'd get the
Then
same.
I will make a motion to accept the proposal from Elliot Johnson if it is amended and the cost comes in at under $19,670.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll send you an email when we get the numbers.
Okay. All right.
And then, I also included in your two things in correspondence or board concerns and directives. First, go ahead.
What do you got?
Do you guys have anything?
Jim, the surface of the pedestrian bridge over the river got peeling paint on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
On the walkway. Yeah.
On the walkway. I think it's okay on the part that goes up. It's just the
Yeah,
part that
It
goes
is,
over the river.
it's the river.
Yeah,
In
Do it,
fact, we
that-
talked about that last week.
That's right. It's on the long list, not the
Okay.
short list.
All right.
Okay, was that the only thing?
Yes, the only
I didn't
thing.
have anything. So we got fluoride?
Yes, there's two things. So first of all, we have fluoride and I wanted to talk about it in the meeting so that it's on the video. The maximum contaminant level for fluoride where we are in violation is 4.0 milligrams per liter. We are currently at 2.1 milligrams per liter on one of our wells. The other two wells are not in excess of 2, but we
Yeah.
did exceed on one of the wells. So we are required by the DES to send this notification sheet along with our consumer confidence report to all of our water customers. But I wanted you guys to understand that we are not in violation or anything.
Right.
It's just it's a notice that people should not be going out and naturally. So anyway, that's,
You can't
In
even get a
case
break
you
with
get
the good stuff, can you?
yeah, I know, exactly.
Can
Go
I
ahead.
comment, just to add to that?
Yeah.
I think if, once people see this notice and if they ask you questions about it, I think there's one thing that you really ought to make them aware of, is that because we only got a hit in one well, water coming from one well and not the other, by the time
They get it.
they
They get it, it's
alternate,
diluted.
right?
It's
And by the
diluted
time it
below
hits the
the-
reservoir, it's probably way below 2.
Yeah.
So I think
Can we?
my way of thinking is we should be taking the test
Can we
sample
take our
from
own
the
sample?
reservoir.
Can we take our own sample at the reservoir?
No, it has to be from the source.
Okay. No, I mean just for.
When-
Oh, for us?
Yeah.
Oh, for us.
It's probably not
Yeah,
worth
it's
the
not,
cost
yeah.
of the test.
When municipalities
Mhm.
add fluoride to
Yes.
their water, what's the level that they usually
It's
try to
under
go
2.
for?
Yeah, it's
Under
1.5
Yeah.
or something like that.
So we're not adding it, but nature is giving it to us.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the other one is on the drought, and I did want to talk about that also because DES has sent out a notice to all water systems in the state that the drought outlook is not positive for the rest of the summer. And DES is advising community water systems to begin promoting water use restrictions. And they're requesting that any restrictions that you guys vote on, if we were to impose anything, that they be reported to DES. DES is not, at the current time, have any mandate
Mandatory, yeah.
for conservation, but we should be talking about it among the town, and people should not be watering lawns.
How many
They should
people are
be-
watering lawns in town? I don't
There
know.
are
Yes,
several
okay.
that are built, well, we've had several that have built-in systems
Yeah.
now, and they're
What do you mean, built in
significant.
based on the water table?
No, they actually have run
Irrigation
pipes,
system.
irrigation.
No, that's what I meant, but
Yeah.
when I hear built in, I'm used to everyone having
Right.
sprinklers where I come
Right.
from. I'm wondering if the water hits a certain level,
No, this is.
so it's just based on the
on.
timer,
It's on a
whatever. It'll be running tomorrow when we
That's
get
right.
into it.
That's right, yeah, potentially.
Just wanna see if
So-
technology passed me by.
Yeah.
Last year,
Mhm.
we were not considered to be in the area that was
The
drought
drought,
That's
affected.
correct.
We were above it.
We
Are
were
they
north of
saying,
it. It's statewide at this
Yeah.
time, they're worried. Yeah.
well, maybe not after tomorrow.
Yeah, let's.
Well, yeah, and I think out of anywhere in the state, our region is probably the least apt to experience the true drought conditions.
But the
Like
rivers
they
are
are.
down.
The river
Yeah.
is way down,
Yeah.
and quite frankly, even though we're supposed to get all this rain tomorrow, I don't think it's gonna do a whole lot.
No, it's not.
I don't think you're gonna see the river come up much. Cause that last inch that we got,
Right,
it
didn't
didn't
do anything.
affect it at all.
But here's another thought, because we have taken federal monies,
Right.
we are now required to have a water conservation plan.
Yeah.
And we would probably be remiss if we, didn't
Right.
do something with this, rather than just
So
throw.
we'll put it on the website. We already have a stuffer going into the water and sewer bills. If the drought conditions continue, I think we should consider talking about it at the July meeting. We'll see where we are. And then we'll send out another mailer if we need to.
And you said there were about
and-
15 households in
Well,
town
there's-
where
Yeah, I
There's
don't-
10 or 15 that have
that have
either
right?
extensive, yes.
Yeah.
Remember we talked about that in the last meeting.
Well, wasn't it?
Oh, I mean, we did.
Yeah.
It was in the pack. So,
It's just trying to create a formula.
so we're,
Equitable to
well-
let someone build.
you have pretty broad discretionary powers where you can temporarily suspend outside water use.
Yeah.
From a conservation
Yeah, I don't think
standpoint.
we need it yet.
No, not yet. No, I'm not saying that we do right now, but you do have that. And you can do it for a very limited period of time, just through October,
Right, well, let's just
You
see
know,
what happens.
if it continues.
Or you can also limit it in terms of what time of day you can do it.
That's right. Yeah. So, anyway, just wanted to get it out there so that people can start talking about it.
Okay,
We don't surprise them as much.
all right.
Okay, so we have a non-public session.
Yes.
All right, I will make a motion at 4:06 to go into non-public. That's second, Margaret.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Thank you all very much.
See you later.
Yeah.
Judy, you need to stay, please, for this.